So Sherry, you have a ton of experience working with churches in family ministry. What insight or advice would you give to churches as they serve their families in the community that they're in?
Yeah, I love family ministry and just you know, when you look at churches, a lot of times they will see things separately, right? So there's the adults that go into the auditorium on the weekend, and then there's children that go into separate children's areas, and then there's youth ministry that sometimes doesn't happen necessarily during the service, but might at other times. I always encourage churches to think about the family holistically, and just how somewhere in your mission as a church, you should have the focus on the family as one of your key things. If your church exists and you're not about reaching families, helping parents, helping them be a better family and growing together in Christ as a family, then I think you're missing it. Every church should be a family church. And One Hope, one of the many things that I love about them, we do research. So we've done multiple research studies on teenagers and parents. And here's something interesting that showed up in our parent research. When we asked the parents, how much influence do you feel like you have over your kids? A majority of our parents said they don't feel like they have a lot of influence over their kids when they become teenagers. When we asked teenagers the same question, they said one of the number one people we go to for wisdom, for answers to life's questions is our parents. And I think that's really important for churches to know that they can help reinforce that. Here's another interesting thing that came out of our parent study. We asked parents, where do you go for help with life and questions about family and things like that? In their top 3 was the church. So a lot of times churches feel like parents don't listen to us. They don't, we put out these resources and they don't use them and they're not listening. Actually, they are. And the church plays a critical role in supporting the family, supporting the parents, helping mom and dad see their critical role as disciples of their children, and letting them know it is possible to be a great parent that helps your child move toward their relationship to Christ.
That's good. When I consult with churches, especially churches that are kind of getting off the ground, and they're talking about key staff, what's the key staff that we should start with or we should hire? Normally it's the usual. We need a great worship director, worship leader, which is important. But I think 1A or 1B is that kids director or that kids pastor or that family pastor, because, and I've heard it said a lot of times, and it's true, that parents will stick at a church that has an okay adult service, but a great kids program, but they are out if their kids program is not good and the adult program is great. I mean, it's just, it evolves around what the kids and what they're learning and how they're feeling. And that's especially true today, I think. Don't you think, Sherry?
Absolutely. I totally agree, Chris. And that's why first impressions are so important. When a family can come to your church and they see that you prioritize the children and the teenagers, that speaks volumes to them. And then when their child comes into children's ministry, and this can be a tension, this is where you really have to balance. The child needs to have fun. They need to enjoy the children's ministry. They need to be able to connect with adults that care about them, but then they need to grow in their relationship with Christ. And that's the tension, right? You want your children's ministry to look great and to be fun, but you also want it to be rich and meaningful in helping a child discover who God is. And that's one of the most critical things you can do as a church. Overwhelming majority of people who come to Christ do it before the age 18. Your children's ministry is so critically important.